Welcome. I'm super excited to be here with you today. My name is Cindy Lish, and I'm an accomplished career coach that empowers stay-at-home moms with the confidence, tools, and skills to successfully return to the workforce. Yes, moms, I'm here for you. Okay? I have helped over 600 women in the past 8 years to overcome their obstacles, overcome their fears, and gain meaningful employment. So whether you've been at home for 20 minutes or 20 years, whether you are a C-suite executive or you're an entry level, this is the place for you. Okay. Before you get started, I want you to click on that subscribe button so that every time I come live, you'll get alerted first. Okay. Let's get going today. We're going to talk today about the reason behind your resume. Okay. Most people think that the resume is there to get them the job. And you know something? That's not what the resume is for. Your interview is to get you the job. There is one reason for the resume. You want to know what that is? The reason for the resume is to get you to the yes pile. And the yes pile is getting you in for the interview. Okay, so now let's think about what our resume has to look like for us to get to the yes pile. Okay, first off, I know it sounds simple, but it should look great. It should be well placed. There should be the right amount of white space on paper, not too much white space, not so much content that you can't read anything on there. Your name should stand out. Your name should be bigger so that we know whose resume it is. It should be error-free. There should be no grammatical errors. There should be no typos. Everything should be perfect, right? Think about when your child does their schoolwork or works on a project. And sometimes you look at it and you're like, wow, that's awesome. And sometimes you look at it and like, oh, nope, you got to go back upstairs. You have to do that again. So think about that for your resume, right? Because your resume is a reflection of you. A resume is your work about yourself. This is a reflection of your personal brand, who you are, what you're putting together. So if you're putting something together very quickly, because I just had to get something out there. I've heard that a lot, right? Oh, I just had to get something out there. I knew it wasn't great, but I had to get something out there. Then you're defeating the purpose of even bothering to apply for the job because you're not going to get the job. And what's going to happen is you're going to be discouraged because you're like, wow, I keep sending out this resume, I'm not getting results. So you want to make sure that what you're putting forward is high quality work. You want to make sure that everything that you're currently doing is written in the present tense. And everything that's from the past is written in the past tense. Okay? We want to make sure the structure of your resume is in the proper structure, that everything is reverse chronological order, that we have a section for our work experience, we have a section for our volunteer experience, we have a section for our education. We're careful about the dates that we put out there on our resume. For example, our education. If you are like me and graduated from university 100 million years ago, then you don't want to put the date that you graduated from school. You just want to put the name of the university and you want to put your degree, but not the date. Okay. We want to be careful about dates in general because, well, many of us are in that grown and sexy stage, right? Just like me. But we don't want to tell somebody up front exactly how old we are. Okay, I was recently working with a client and she had her work experience on her resume going back to 1988. I'm like, oh my goodness, I graduated from high school in 87, right? We don't want to have that much back on our resume. On top of which, whatever we did that many years ago, it's not relevant anymore. We're not the same person as we were 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So we want to be careful about those things, okay? We also want to make sure that when we are putting a resume together, that our resume speaks to the job that we are applying for, okay? And this is really, really important because the employer is not going to read between the lines, okay? I wonder if anybody out there knows how long an employer is looking at your resume? Hands up. It's less than 6 seconds. Yeah, less than 6 seconds. So when you're putting a resume out there, you want to make sure that it's really, really clear to them that you have the exact experience that they're looking for. And we're going to continue to talk about this in later YouTube videos. But I want you to make sure that your resume speaks to the exact job, okay? For example, Suppose I invited you for dinner. I love this example. Suppose I invited you for dinner and I wanted to be really impressive. So I made a standing rib roast. And then for dessert, I made a flourless chocolate almond tart. And then you come over and I find out that you are a vegetarian and you're allergic to nuts and you don't like chocolate. And here I was thinking that I was being super, super, super impressive, but it was all wrong because I didn't pay attention to who my audience was. Okay. So, for example, I was working with a client recently that worked in nonprofits, and she ran a nonprofit organization. She also wrote grants for them. She applied for one position as a grant writer, but she didn't put the grant part on there. And I said, well, you need to put the grant part on there, but we need to spend less time talking about the managing the staff, the hiring, the HR, all the daily operations that you were doing, because the position you're applying for is just a grant position. Then she applied for another position that had nothing to do with grants. And then we said, okay, we have to downplay the grants and we have to spend more time talking about the daily operations, what you did, dealing with the board of directors, managing staff, all the programs, the fundraising you did, things like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, it's talking directly to the job that you are applying for. Okay, and they tell you what they're looking for. Do you know where they tell you? Of course you know where they tell you. They tell you in the job posting. They tell you exactly in the job posting what they're looking for. And it's your responsibility to show them, hey, I have all the skills you're looking for. Not only do I have the skills, but I'm showing you my accomplishments. We'll talk more about that later. I'm showing you my accomplishments to show you that I have done. I didn't just do the job, but I did it well. Okay? I've done everything that you're looking for. Okay, so those are things that you want to get forth on your resume so that you can get past that screening stage and get to go in for the interview. Now, I told you we were going to talk about accomplishments. So imagine that you are a teacher, an elementary school teacher, and you write that your job, a third grade teacher, is you prepared students for state math and English language arts exams. Okay, great. That's the job. That's the task. Okay. Moms, do you want that teacher for your child? You don't know yet, right? Because you don't know how well she did the job. As opposed to if she says 10 years experience preparing 300 students for state math and English language arts exams, with 100% of the students passing the test and 89% of the students scoring whatever the highest grade is in your state. In my state, it's a 4. Now you're like, yes, I definitely want this teacher for my children. Okay, same thing on the resume. Show me how well you did the job, not just that I did it. Do you see the difference? Now, why do we have to put this level of effort into the resume? Because again, as a lot of my clients will tell me, before we start working together, they'll say, listen, Cindy, I didn't put that in my resume. I was saving that to talk about at the interview. I didn't put that in because I wanted to be able to talk about that in the interview. But here's the catch. If you don't put your best stuff in on your resume, you're never going to have an opportunity to get to the interview. Okay. So, and if you don't get to the interview, you won't have an opportunity to tell those great stories. So that's why we need to speak directly to the job, directly to the job they're posting. And we need to consider this from the point of view of the employer. They're looking at hundreds, if not thousands of resumes. And you need to make sure that you're showing that you put in the effort to give them exactly what they're looking for, to show them, hey, I'm the right person because I have the skills and experience that you're looking for. And I made it really easy for you to see that. On top of which, I made sure that my resume was well written, that it was neat, that it was clean, that it was creative. I didn't use the same word over and over and over again. This is why you should call me in for an interview, because I gave you a taste of my best work. Aha. See? That's what the resume is. It's a taste of your best work. Okay, so now, if you like what you saw here, I hope that you like my page, write some comments, invite your friends, so that we can help as many women as possible to get back to the workforce. And if you want to see some more, hop over to my website, cindylish.com. It's CINDYLISH.com. You'll see so much, and we can even have an opportunity to talk one-on-one. You can link up with my calendar, and we can talk one-on-one about how I can help you on your job search. I'll see you next week for my next live. Have a great week and stay productive. And always remember, you are a warrior.